Welcome back! My name is Baller Scuba. This is Video Games Over Time. We are still in 1984, and we are still in Sorcerer. When we last left off, we made it to the coal bin room, where there's a whole bunch of coal in here. And I have to point that out because it's actually important. We are headed towards the end of the game. We went through a 3D glass maze. That was kind of a big deal last time. That proved to be a hassle, but we are ready to kind of go on to the end of the game here. So what we're going to do, we're not going to mess around here. There's actually a limited amount of oxygen in the coal bin room, so we kind of have to move kind of quickly here. So let's open up the orange vial. That's the one that we picked up towards the beginning of the game from the messenger. So we'll open that. Opening the orange vial reveals orange potion. A few lumps of coal spill from the coal chute. You are about to pass out from the bad air. That's the important part there. So we're going to drink the orange potion. The orange potion tastes like pepper and made your nose tingle. Someone slides out of the coal chute and lands near the bin. Although your clothes are much cleaner and less torn, the stranger looks virtually like your own twin. Now this is important. We are going to wait at this point. Once again, we're not going to kind of mess around here because we have low oxygen in this room. Time passes. Your disheveled twin is having difficulty breathing, but gasps. The combination is 54. Your older self then looks at you almost expectantly. We need that number. That number is important. The combination is 54, and I believe it does change with every playthrough, so you're going to need that one. Let's go ahead and do something a little weird. We're going to give our spell book to our twin. Your older self accepts the spell book gratefully. Your lookalike dives into the lower chute and slides out of view. Hooray. We need to drop all down lower chute at this point. We don't need any of the stuff for a little bit, so let's go ahead and drop down all of that. Yeah, he dove down there. We'll throw some stuff after him. Why not? We're going to go east from here, get out of this room. To the dial room. On the eastern wall is a heavy door with a dial set into it. There is a sign on the door, another exit leads west, and a wall-mounted lamp provides illumination. The floor is deeply covered with lumps of coal. We're going to go ahead and turn the dial to 54. That was our number after all. The dial is now set to 54. You hear a click from inside the door. Hooray, we'll open the door. The door opens easily and go east. To the shaft bottom. You're at the bottom of an air shaft which looks climbable. A heavy door leads west. Lying in one corner is a coil of rope. Rope is always useful. Let's get the rope. Let's go ahead and head up from this point to the shaft top. Once again, this was climbable. You are deep inside a large coal mine at the top of an air shaft. You could descend into the shaft. Passages in many directions lead further into the mine. Let's go southwest from here to the coal mine. You're in a winding tunnel in a large coal mine. Passages lead off in many directions. Lying near the mouth of one passage is a wooden timber, probably left over from the construction of the mine. All right, we're going to tie our rope to the timber. The rope is tied securely to the center of the beam. Then we're going to go northwest. And we're taking the beam of wood with us to the coal mine. That's, yeah, back there. And we can go west from here to the top of the chute. You're at the top of the western end of the coal mine. A metal chute leads downward. We want to drop the timber, drop rope down chute. The rope hangs from the beam into the chute, and we're going to hope that this timber can hold us. Let's climb down. You climb carefully down the rope, which is slippery with coal dust, and soon reach a small opening off the chute. You clamber inside. To the slanted room. This small room has a slanted roof, presumably due to the coal chute which passes overhead. You can re-enter the chute to the east. Mounted securely to the wall is a kerosene lamp, filling the room with a serene orange glow. A small compartment at its base is open. There is a shimmering scroll here. We're going to go ahead and get that scroll. We will inspect the scroll. Should be the only one we have. It is the Golmak spell. Travel temporally, it means through time. I had a hard time saying it, though. You feel the Vilstu potion beginning to wear off, and the air here seems pretty unbreathable. Yeah, the orange potion allowed us to breathe, right? So, we need to Golmak me. Let's get out of here. As you cast the spell, the shimmering scroll vanishes. You are surrounded by a puff of smoke and feel disoriented for a moment. When the smoke clears, nothing seems to have changed, except that the kerosene lamp is now closed. Okay, let's open the compartment. Opening the kerosene lamp reveals a smelly scroll. Get smelly scroll. We got that, and we will head east. To the coal bin room. This is obviously the heart of a large coal mine illuminated by a wall-mounted lamp. The bottom of a metal coal chute is visible at the north end of the room. Another chute continues downward at the southern end. A large coal bin is overflowing, and the floor is completely covered with lumps of coal. A passage leads east, but a western passage is blocked by rubble. Standing here, looking quite confused, is someone who could only be your younger self, an exact duplicate of you, but cleaner and breathing with considerably less difficulty. You remember seeing this scene from another viewpoint just a short while ago. Among the items carried by your twin is your spellbook. The Vilstu potion has almost completely worn off now, and I doubt you could survive here without it. Okay, so we have gone for full circle here. We are now talking to our younger self when before we were talking to our older self. Tell twin combination is 54. Your younger self seems surprised by your statement. Your younger self is doing absolutely nothing. Come on, you got to get back to me here. Wait. Your younger self hands you your spell book. There we go. That's what I needed. Let's go down from here then. That's what we did before, after all. You fly out of the chute and land just at the edge of some water to the lagoon shore. This is a narrow beach between a small cove to the east and tall cliffs to the west. The shore curves to the southeast and northeast. A metal chute leads up into the cliff. We're going to Neusto Vardic at this point, now that we can breathe and deal with all of this. All right, so now Vardic is in there. That is the one that we grabbed, kind of went all this way to get. We're going to wait now for our potion to wear off here. There we go. You feel the final effects of the Vilstu potion vanish, leaving you totally exhausted, an unfortunate side effect. So we can sleep here. You dream of an idyllic scene in the country, a picnic of wood sprites and dryads. You awaken and stand. I guess that's good. All right, memorize Meef and Meef. We need to do that a couple times. All right, we got 2 Meefs all ready to go. We'll drop the book, then go east to the surface of the lagoon. You are swimming on the surface of a calm lagoon whose sandy floor is visible below. A curved beach surrounds this inlet on its western side. Yeah, you don't want to get exhausted in the middle of a swim, which is why you have to do it a little bit early there. Let's go down from here to the lagoon floor. This is the floor of a cove off the turbulent ocean to the east. The ground slopes upward to the northwest and south. Light filters down from the surface of the water. There is an amulet here. The amulet's jewel is pulsing with flashes of brilliant light. An orange vial labeled in tiny letters is lying here. There is an indigo vial here. All the stuff we dropped is here. Nestled among some coral is a clump of stunningly beautiful spence weeds, waving slowly in the currents of the lagoon. What we want to do here is meef the weed. The spence seeds wilt away, revealing a wooden crate labeled with black lettering. Sorry, just meef weed. Just sounds like a pot reference. It is not. All right, we're going to Rezzrov the crate. Silently, the wooden crate swings open, revealing a Gru suit, a can of Gru repellent, and a brass lantern. Like swatting a fly with a sledgehammer, if you ask me. You won't be able to hold your breath much longer. Hooray! Get the amulet and the suit. I don't think anything else is going to be something that we need. Okay, I'm now wearing the magic amulet and the Gru suit. I want to know what it looks like, but for now we need to go up because better get some fresh air soon. So let's go ahead and go up to the surface of the lagoon. We'll go west from here. There is a spell book here. I'm going to go ahead and get that. And then we're going to go northeast to the ocean shore north. You are standing on the western shore of the mighty Flathead Ocean. According to legends you read at the university, the eastern shore of this ocean is a strange land of magical beings and priceless treasures. You could go north along the shore. The edge of a small cove lies to the southwest. All right, so from here, I want to go north to the mouth of the river. A mighty river spills into the ocean here. Looking up the river valley, you see a tall waterfall. Atop a cliff high above you is the rampart of a fortress. A cave entrance at the base of the cliff to the west is blocked by writhing green vines. Well, we know what we can do with that. Let's meef them. You can almost feel a wave of pain from the vines as they shrivel away. We're just killing plants all the time here. All right, we're going to need to memorize a couple things. Memorize Yeoman and Vardic and Swanzo. We got all three queued up here. Let's go west to the Gru Lair. This is a low, shadowy cave leading east to west. The rocky walls are scarred with deep claw marks. A pack of Grus fills the room. The Grus, contrary to all conventional wisdom, aren't bothered by your light in the least. They must be mutated Grus, no longer fearing light. They seem to be ignoring you, aside from a few suspicious gurgles in your directions. Can I inspect the Grus? When was the last time I saved? Like, inspecting Grus doesn't sound like a plan for me. Let's save Sorcerer 9. Okay. Inspect the Grus? I want to know what they look like. We've never known. You see nothing special about the pack of mutated Grus. That's not helping me any. All right, fine. We'll move on. They're not going to tell us. West again to the Mammoth Cavern. Does this sound familiar to anybody? This cavern is of extraordinary size, but nevertheless crowded with powerful-looking machinery. You recognize a breeder for producing millions of the mutated Grus you just passed. Other devices seem designed to aid the forces of evil while sapping magic powers of enchanters everywhere. At the far end of the cavern are three closed doors. A black marble door leading to the northwest, a shiny silver door leading due west, and a door of bleached white wood to the southwest. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's save again because there's a few options here. And I want to show off the other options. It's supposed to be either guess and check or you're supposed to kind of Vetsa your way to victory, which I don't want to do. I don't want to, check the future to see what the answer is supposed to be. It doesn't feel right. Plus, they spoil stuff for you. Like, even to this point, it'll be spoilers that I don't want to talk about. So we're not going to do that. Let's start with the wrong doors. Open black door. As the chamber opens, hundreds of slime-covered tentacles stream out and drag you across the threshold. And we have made it back to the Chamber of Living Death. This is not good. So let's restore. If I could spell right. Sorcerer 10. Now we can try to open... Wait, what's here again? Inspect. Look around. There we go. It was black door, silver door. Let's try opening the silver door. The door blows open, knocking you to the ground. You are pulled through the open doorway by an unseen force back to the Hall of Eternal Pain. Yeah, so 2 of them lead to instant death that I have not been able to figure out how to get out of. But it's fine. We'll open the white door then. The door creaks slowly open. Within, you see someone lying as though asleep. You feel yourself drawn into the room. Belbaz's hideout. An acrid stench fills this small room, which is obviously a control center for the evil experiments in the cavern outside. Hanging on the wall is a heavy dagger, its handle encrusted with diamonds. Belbaz is lying here, motionless but not asleep. He seems to be in some sort of trance. Okay. We're going to Yeoman Belbaz. You get a horrifying glimpse of a monstrous creature intertwined throughout Belbaz's mind. You concentrate, attempting to translate this image into visual terms, and imagine a giant spider with millions of legs, wrapped around and feasting upon the body and spirit of Belbaz. The image fades, and you stagger backwards. That was the mind probe that we just did. Let's save again. Because once again, I have options and I want to try to show them off. So we'll save this one as Sorcerer 11. The first thing that you can do is highly not recommended. Let's wake him up. Let's wake up the spider with millions of legs that's inside Belbaz's mind. Suddenly, Belbaz's eyes flicker and he leaps to his feet. His face is unrecognizable, a twisted mask of hatred. Meddlesome enchanter, I should have killed you all before I left, but better late than never. Lightning bolts flash towards you from his fingers, but rather than dying, you find yourself in the Hall of Eternal Pain again. All right, so that's technically an option, but it's not the good one. Here's the worst one, I believe. Let's get the dagger. Yeah, this is the worst option that actually is an ending. There's a few endings here, which is new for us, so let's show them off. Kill Belbaz with the dagger. Oh wow, this is long. You stab the knife time and again into Belbaz, who writhes in pain, eyes bulging outward. Sickened and dizzy, you stagger back. A wispy, translucent shape rises from the corpse of Belbaz. It speaks in a voice so deep that your whole body seems to hear it. I'm not good at these. Foolish charlatan, I am forced to flee that weak old body. I shall take your own instead. Already I have sucked all knowledge, all secrets from that ancient enchanter. Now begins an epoch of evil, transcending even your worst nightmares. A reign of terror that will last 1,000 years. The shape blows towards you on a cold wind. You feel an overwhelming sense of oppression as the demon seizes control of your mind and body. The monster reaches into the recesses of your mind, adding your hard-earned magic powers to its own. As it settles comfortably into your skull, the demon grants you a vision of the future. You see the enslaved people of the land toiling to erect great idols to GR. Parents offer up their own children upon these altars, as the rivers of the land fill with blood. And you embody GR. You are cursed by 10,000 generations of victims. Your face adorns the idols, and worst of all, you remain awake and aware, a witness to horror, never sleeping and never ever to escape. Your score is negative 99 of a possible 400 and 538 moves. This puts you in the class of menace to society. So let's go ahead and restore. Sorcerer 11. That's not a good ending. I don't like that one, where I'm the scourge of, a million years. That's not good. All right, so option number 2. Let's Vardic me. A feeling of warmth and protection fills your mind. We'll get the dagger at this point. This is not the way that you want to do it once again, but we'll do what we can. Get the dagger. Kill Belboz with the dagger. Now that we have Vardic up, let's see if that changes things. You stab the knife time and again into Belboz, who writhes in pain, eyes bulging outward. Sickened and dizzy, you stagger back. A wispy, translucent shape rises from the corpse of Belboz. It speaks in a voice so deep that your whole body seems to hear it. Foolish charlatan! I am forced to flee that weak, old body. I shall take your own instead. Already I have sucked all knowledge, all secrets from that ancient enchanter. Now begins an epoch of evil, transcending even your worst nightmares. A reign of terror that will last 1,000 years. The shape blows towards you on a cold wind. GR surrounds you like a cloud and begins to contract. Suddenly, it strikes your invisible protection and recoils as if burned. No, it cries. Such a guileless enchanter developing a mind shield. The cloud is thinner, the voice fainter. It cannot be. I cannot survive without a host. The demon rolls in agony, then thins and dissipates. There is a final scream of pain, then silenced. GR is vanquished. The kingdom is saved. But you are stranded in a land unknown. And your closest friend, the greatest enchanter of his age, lies dead by your own hand. Kneeling by his blood-soaked corpse, you beg for another chance. Your score is 375 of a possible 400 in 539 moves. This puts you in the class of Sorcerer, which is fairly good. We don't want to restart, we want to restore, but I think we can do better. All right, so we will Vardic me, and we will Swanzo Belboz. That's what we need to go to do here. A wispy, translucent shape rises from the body of Belboz. It speaks in a voice so deep that your whole body seems to hear it. Foolish charlatan, I am forced to flee that weak old body. I shall take your own instead. Already I have sucked all knowledge, all secrets from that ancient enchanter. Now begins an epoch of evil, transcending even your worst nightmares. A reign of terror that will last 1,000 years. The shape blows towards you on a cold wind. GR surrounds you like a cloud and begins to contract. Suddenly it strikes your invisible protection and recoils as if burned. No, it cries. Such a guileless enchanter developing a mind shield. The cloud is thinner, the voice fainter. It cannot be. I cannot survive without a host. The demon roils in agony, then thins and dissipates. There is a final scream of pain, then silence. Belboz moans softly and begins stirring. He sees you and rises, instantly alert. After posing a few well-chosen questions, he casts a brief but unfamiliar spell. An instant later, your Gru suit has vanished, and you are standing in the chamber of the circle. The circle of enchanters is assembled. Belboz speaks. Once again, this young enchanter has done a matchless service to the guild and to the entire kingdom, displaying resourcefulness and imagination worthy of the greatest of enchanters. I grow old and must soon step down as head of the circle, but let it be known that a successor has been found. Your score is 400 of a possible 400 and 538 moves. This puts you in the class of Leader of the Circle of Enchanters. Here ends the second chapter of the Enchanter Saga, in which, by virtue of your skills, you have been appointed as the next leader of the Circle of Enchanters. The final adventure awaits you as the Enchanter series concludes. You hear a distant bellow. what happened to my Morja plant? And that is the payoff for what we worked so hard to do when we started. It's not much, but it's something. So that is the game. We have done things properly as they have kind of hinted at and really flat out said. There is going to be another game in the Enchanter series, and if you Vetsa, sometimes they tell you stuff that happens in that third game, that third chapter. So I would recommend not doing it if you don't want spoilers. But we have beaten the game. We got the maximum possible score. We got the joke at the end. And so that is the game now played. And with the game now played, it's time to talk about how it holds up today. Playing the game today, I do have to say that the game is fun. I enjoyed playing this game. With that said, I do have to say that the game isn't as fun as some of the other games that we have played from Infocom. I would argue that this might actually be the weakest of the games that we have played to this point. It felt rushed to me, to be honest. It felt like there weren't great descriptions like there were in previous games. It feels that the puzzles were either far too easy or far too difficult. The final puzzle, I think, was the highlight, the one where we actually go through time, kind of give ourselves clues and stuff like that. That was probably my favorite of the bunch. But it starts with you kind of needing to rush because you get hungry and thirsty and sleepy very quickly. And if you don't get a certain amount of things done before the end, before you actually have to fall asleep or before you die of hunger and thirst, then you end up in the Hall of Eternal Pain and there's not much you can do to get out of that. So it kind of starts with you needing to kind of already know what you need to do, and that can only really be done by guessing and checking with that limited amount of time. The middle part, I would say, was pretty forgettable, to be honest. It just didn't really add up to much until we got to the glass maze, which was a hell of a puzzle, to be honest. I don't know how you can do that without guessing and checking. Maybe you could figure out that you needed to be a bat in order to get through that, but until you kind of map it out and try to figure out where it is you need to go, they don't really give you a lot of clues or anything like that. Maybe there are ways to try to figure out a bit of a path to get through, but ultimately it looked like a guess and check style maze to me, and that's not really how I want these games to go. And then at the end, when we actually did have the time puzzle that we needed to get through, where we tell ourselves the combination and give ourselves the spell book and all that, then when we get to the final part with Belboz, that worked out really well. So like the intro was really good, the end was really good, but everything in the middle just kind of fell apart for me. When it comes to the plot, I did enjoy the plot. It was something a little bit different than we have seen, but once again, kind of the middle part didn't really have much to do with that. It was just kind of your opening of the dream where you kind of see the future. Everybody is gone. Building burns down. We assume that it's Belboz, or at least the demon inside Belboz, and then we just kind of disappear for a while until we can find him somewhere and we get the right scrolls and stuff like that. So the plot is good for what it was, just there's not a lot of it. In terms of the replayability for this one, I would say it's pretty low once you have solved it. I don't think you're going to be going back to it too often. I'm not one to try to do it in, a record amount of low moves or anything like that. So there's not really too much there for me to go back to now that it has been solved. So overall, it's a good game. I did enjoy playing it, but I would say that it is arguably the weakest, or at least one of the weaker entries that we have seen from Infocom. With that said, because it is a continuous story, I most likely will be going on to the third game if it ever gets released, or if it, actually becomes fun. But we'll have to get there when we get there. I'm not planning on abandoning this series just because of one weak game. We will return to it in the future. Once again, I did have fun. Even though it was a weaker entry, it's still a fun game, and I still enjoy the Infocom games as a whole. In terms of recommending it to somebody that... in terms of recommending it to a modern audience, I would put the caveat on there that if you have played Infocom games and have enjoyed them, then you will probably enjoy this one. It's not necessarily as good as the other ones, but you probably already know whether you want to play this game or not. If you have not played Infocom games, this is definitely not the one to start with. I would argue that you basically have to play all 3 Zork games and Enchanter before you can play Sorcerer and like it and appreciate it. So really it's for existing fans of Infocom games and existing fans of Zork and Enchanter, and not really for a lot of other people. And that's my modern take on the game. When the game was released, Sorcerer would prove to be popular among the critics. In particular, the critics enjoyed the game's descriptions, puzzles, and plot. Although the game would be relatively popular, it wouldn't be nearly as popular as other Infocom games that we have played. The Infotator, however, would become a collector's item based on its rarity. With another success on their hands, Infocom would continue to be a dominant force in the interactive fiction genre. We will hear from Infocom again. We will also hear from Steve Meretzky again, as he continued to create games for Infocom. That will do it for the story of Sorcerer. My name is Baller Scuba. This has been Video Games Over Time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in our next video when we find some new caverns.
Thank you.